As we have discussed a lot recently, Disney's new Beauty and the Beast is the closest to the original animated feature out of all the live-action fairy tales. So today we're going to look at the 10 biggest differences between the two films, and please be warned, there may be spoilers if you have yet to see the film. And this is a list solely of differences, not particularly additional material, just so we're clear. Beginning at the start of the film, we first hear a major difference during the prologue. The original prologue is told by David Ogden Stiers, who is also the voice of Cogsworth. We now hear the prologue from a female voice, I believe to be Emma Thompson, who of course now plays Mrs. Potts. It makes sense for them to offer a new perspective of this opening moment from a different member of the household staff. Probably one of the more significant and plot hole solving differences is that all the town folk have their memories of Beast Castle and all its inhabitants erased as a result of the curse. This pretty much explains why nobody appears to question the castle's presence at the edge of town, and offers a new touch with Mrs. Potts and Cogsworth being reunited with their estranged spouses at the movie's close. This also removes any possible romantic connection between Mrs. Potts and Maurice, although there is a nice nod to that during the final dance. Belle's love of books has become a character-defining trait, something we are first introduced to during her trip to the bookshop in the opening number. Now I have to say, the original bookshop seems pretty well stocked for a village which appears repulsed by her inherent nature to read. The new version reduces this to only feature a single shelf of maybe a dozen titles, making Beast's gift of his own library even more powerful than ever. Something I mentioned in my review is the difference in the character of Maurice between the two films, and what an improvement. I mean, he's fun and everything, but animated Maurice is something of a caricature, used mainly for comic relief, and somewhat hardly feels like a real person. This new Maurice is fully fleshed out into a truly layered character, with much credit going to Kevin Kline and the new song, How Does a Moment Last Forever. It's pretty common knowledge that the original film takes place in winter, and around Christmas if you pay attention to the direct-to-video mid-war. And Beast Castle is often covered in snow, though not always. The live-action version, however, has Beast Castle forever snowed under, suggesting this is another repercussion of the curse. This is most evident when Maurice first approaches the castle and his surroundings become suddenly and inexplicably drenched in snow. The act of Gaston's attempt to throw Maurice into the asylum is dramatically altered in the new version, bringing about some of the few removed scenes from the original. Most noticeably is the lack of the reprise of Gaston, and also the following scene featuring Monsieur Dark. Maurice's arrest has also already taken place by the time of Belle's return, rather than happening after her arrival back in town. The presentation of something there is wildly different than its animated counterpart, in which Belle and Beast's lyrics are inner thoughts rather than sang. Now they are wholly sang, although still as if invisible to others. As I'd expect this song to be presented on stage, Belle's lyrics, for example, go unnoticed by Beast, who's standing right beside her. So everyone's favourite teacup Chip plays a pretty important role in Belle and Maurice's escape during the original mob song. Now, however, he is nowhere to be seen. Chip never leaves the castle with Belle, and they end up escaping due to Belle and Maurice's, rather than Chip's, ingenuity. The most heartbreaking and tear-worthy moment, for me at least, was something we never witnessed in the animated version. Belle unfortunately is unable to break the curse before the last petal falls, and therefore Lumiere, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, Chip and everyone else actually turn into household objects for good, if only for that matter of minutes. Don't think about it. It's finally worth noting the few name changes in the new version, particularly amongst the household staff, with Babette now being called Plumette and Madame de la Grande becoming Madame Garderobe, a much more dignified title. Honourable mention, of course, goes to the focus on LeFou's sexuality, although I'm hesitant to call this a change, as we never see it referenced in the animated version. More like further exploration, and a welcome addition at that. So those are my 10 biggest differences between the original animated and the new live-action versions of Beauty and the Beast. I'm curious, what was your favourite? Were there any that you disliked? And did you notice any further changes? Join in the discussion down below, and join me for further Beauty and the Beast coverage on this channel very soon. I am Joseph Worthington, this is Coelho's Fake Out. Be sure to subscribe for more Disney videos and don't stay too long.